Now, I love to look on eBay for multi-tools, and whenever I can snap up a Gerber armbar, trade, scout, something like this for under $20, I do. And this is one of those that I was able to snap up and grab. And I have another one on the way, but this is a multi-tool that I saw on AliExpress. And this one right here has some potential. I really like what GHK Grand Harvest is doing with their lineup. Now we'll get into price a little bit later, but definitely it looks like they're stepping up the game. It looks like we have some nice aluminum blue handles. We've got a nice pocket clip. Everything is locking right here. And then on this side, look at this. We have a hammer. We have this glass breaker. Now, I would imagine you can take this glass breaker out right here. A lot of these are screw in if you didn't like it. And then we do have several hammer angles that you could use potentially on several sides. Then on the bottom, it does look like you have a spot for a 1/4 inch bit driver. So in the bottom of this Grand Harvest, you do have room for a double-sided bit driver. That is really cool. It is an extra deep bit driver with a magnet at the bottom. You can use it with your Byberry, Surge Clones, Wave Clones bit kits that come right here. And then it just snaps right in there and you have a pretty nice little bit driver. Yeah, I think that is super cool. So not only do you have that, it looks like you potentially have a 4mm driver. Now this is the Wii Tactics 4mm driver that I did carry to work a couple times, and then it just seemed like it was too small for work, but for around the house, yeah. So you've got the 4mm on the side. I feel like these overseas multi-tools are really learning that the American market, it's either a 1/4 inch or 4mm. And it seems like this year, for one of the first times, they've given up on a lot of the 5mm market. They've sort of given up on that, and they've come around to what's easily available in the US, which is pretty nice to see. Also, there is this rope cutter in the handle. That's different. Sort of a neat addition. So glass breaker, 2 bit drivers, rope cutter, hammer, all that, pocket clip. And then we get to the interior where we have this set of scissors. These scissors, all right, so we can cut right through paracord there. They're not the best scissors I've ever come across, but they're not bad. They can cut through paracord. There we go. And sometimes you have to sort of figure out how to hold these scissors, which I guess that's with different tools. Yeah, they can cut through paracord. I do feel like this is a cheaper version of some scissors than we've seen in the past, but they do, yeah, they will cut. All right, I'm going to go ahead, pull this back, unlock this right here. Then the next tool will be this serrated blade right here. Snaps into place. Looks pretty nice. All right, so we'll go ahead. Put this back. One of the tools that sort of slipped right by my notice was this all tucked in. It really folds in so you don't hardly know it's there, but that is also included in this tool. We have the knife and then a combo tool right here. Now this will be your can opener. This will be your wire stripper notch, bottle opener. It does a whole bunch of things right there. Then we'll go ahead, put that back, and we have the knife, which actually reminds me a lot of the Gerber design. Let's get this paracord off. The Gerber design knife blade. Take a look at that. Definitely, I feel like it draws some heavy inspiration from Gerber. This nail notch right here is a little different, but the design, yeah, very similar to what Gerber's is. But what I like about the GHK is that all these tools are locking. And it is pretty neat to see that bit driver or these bit drivers on the bottom. So you could use a Leatherman wallet holder like I do, and then go ahead and use that bit driver. Really, really nice to see that. Now this does come in around $30. So what we're seeing is, as these tariffs continue to linger, AliExpress prices are really going up. So they are really skyrocketing to some extent. And so this tool, I would assume, a little while ago would have been around $20 or so, but it is now around $30. Now, this does come in several different colors. It comes in bright pink, yellow, and green, as opposed to this blue. I really liked the blue version the best, but yeah, this does come in several different colors. I really like this tool. Now, this next tool is a little bit of a different one because this will be one of these clip tools right here that can fit on your backpack and so forth. And on the bottom of this tool, even though it's a lot cheaper, it looks like they pretty much just glued in a tiny little glass breaker, and it looks like the glue did not get cleaned up. So it looks a little dirty on mine, not sure why, but we do have this clip, which feels a little cheap. This whole tool feels a little cheap. It will come in around $17. Nothing is locking on the outside. We've got this knife. Then we do have a wrench, bottle opener, can opener, all in one. On this side will be the saw. So this will be a very minimalist tool, although it still feels a little chunky. And then on this side, we keep seeing this. I feel like this was popular years ago, and now it's coming back into style. These little tiny flashlights. They're trying to add this function in these tools. For $17, I definitely feel like you could do better. Not a huge fan of this tool. It is very different, but it feels extremely heavy. But this is what you get. It looked sort of nice on AliExpress, but then when you get it in hand, not so nice. So we'll put this off to the side. Now, another tool, this one right here is a little bit more clever. This is one of those, I guess you can lock it like this. So this is also to add to your backpack and so forth. But this one right here, I don't know that I've seen this before, where they added a very small double-sided 1/4-inch bit into the handle, and then you can use the Phillips and the flat bit, which I think is creative. I like to see that instead of just a generic screwdriver that folds out. That's pretty nice. We do have this glass breaker. Not a huge fan of glass breakers sticking out like horns all over these multi-tools, but that's what we have. And then on this side, there is the saw, which is fine, although it is fairly small. And then on this side is a scalpel blade. I do think people will find that more interesting, so that you can just replace the blades. This one right here, I'm not sure exactly which blade this takes, but it looks like one of the fairly standard sizes. And that's what this tool is. Now, this is another GHK, so I do feel like GHK is definitely doing a lot better with their tools. Both of these are locking onto the outside, the saw and the knife, so that's nice. And then I really do like that 1/4-inch bit driver. Pretty cool. Now with this, I guess you could potentially use double-sided bits. It barely fits in there, but you could use that. But yeah, 1/4-inch bits, really nice to see these overseas tools finally accepting them on even some of these smaller tools. Now this one right here will be a little cheaper than some of the other tools, or the first tool that we talked about. This comes in at $20. So this is 20, this is 17. I do not think I would get this one, but either this one or the original GHK that we talked about, I think both of these are pretty good value. Now, I think some of the best value is still finding these Gerbers, used Gerbers on eBay, but they are drastically going up in price. They're skyrocketing to $35 is like a bargain deal for these brand new now, and some of them are going up to their $50 standard price, I think, on Gerber's website, and even on Blade HQ I saw that the price is going up. So yeah, some of these tools might be a lot more attractive now, since a lot of these other multi-tool prices are going up. And I really like what GHK is doing recently in the multi-tool market space.